Hi everyone, I'm Eric Dobratz and welcome to a special edition of Sports Edge. Joining us today, a fan favorite here in Connecticut, Swin Cash. Swin, thank you so much for coming and tell us about this great book you've been working on.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. The book is called Humble Journey, More Precious Than Gold, and it really just gives you an inside glimpse of my life from 2008 when I didn't make the Olympic team to 2012 when I actually made the Olympic team. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to write a book to talk about life lessons that I learned along the way and give people, the fans, an authentic look inside of an athlete's mind that's winning, that's going through different obstacles, perseverance, and all those different things.
Tell me about the process. How did this come about? I mean, I want to write a book. These guys want to write a book. How does that happen?
It's just one of those things where I'm a very private person with my personal life and with my family. I try to protect them from that standpoint. And first, I feel like you have to be authentic. If you're going to talk about something, you either have to be knowledgeable about it or you have to be your true self. And that was number one. Number two is it's a lot of hard work. I mean, before I even got to the point of publishing this book, I mean, there were different publishing companies that wanted me to change the book, wanted me to do it a certain way or to partner with another athlete. And I really held my ground and said, you know what, I want to do this book my way. And I think whenever you set your mind on something and you actually do it the way you want to do it, it turns out to be the project that it is today.
I mean, so much in your life happened before 2008, but like you said, you're just concentrating those 4 years. Talk about 2008 and not making the Olympic team and how that felt and what you did going forward.
You know, it was very tough. It was very tough not to make the Olympic team in 2008. And I had so many emotions, like mixed emotions, things going on in my mind, health, career, personal life. And I held a lot of it in. And I didn't really have people to really have that outlet and talk to. Plus, I didn't want to talk to people. And I thought that this was a perfect opportunity. In the book, I talk about what those emotions were like, how I dealt with them. Because I think there are other athletes that may have gone through some of the same things, similar things. And it's about not when you fall, people only remember how you get back up.
Now, one of the things that we were talking about prior to this was an injury you had and how you hurt your back, you needed surgery. And talk about the loopholes and all the hoops you had to jump through. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, a famous athlete, you'll get the best health care, this and that, the best treatment, but it really wasn't the case.
It really wasn't the case. And I think what's so funny is if you read the book, you're going to be like, you're going to laugh at some point. Because I had to laugh. And I say, you know, with the doctors and the way that the healthcare system is, it's whether you're in system or out of system, you know, everyone's fighting for these different things. And I found out the hard way, and I talk about this in the book, Humble Journey, that whenever it was time for me to have surgery, you know, I wanted to go to the best doctor. I knew the best doctor. I talked to the best doctor, you know, got a consultation. And when it's time to say, okay, let's go have the surgery, I get a phone call and he's not in network. So if you're going to use him, you're going to be paying out of pocket. And I'm like, whoa, I'm a professional athlete. I feel like I have the best medical care, but I'm not able to have the best doctor. And that was very tough for me. And that's when I learned the business of basketball isn't just about professional athletes. Everyday people go through the same issues.
And talk about the business of basketball, being a WNBA player. What is that like? I mean, you talked about being traded, moving from a couple different teams. How is that?
It can be difficult because I think one of the things that people think of, oh, you've been traded, there's a stigma behind it. Oh, something had to happen or it was personal. And sometimes it really just comes down to salary cap. It really comes down to a team going in a different direction. And I had to really be mature enough to understand that trades always aren't a reflection on who you are. It's a reflection on what the business is. And so I just kept staying true to myself, and I learned a lot about who I was and my character and staying true to who I was. And it was just really important for me. I thought it was a lot of, in the last 4 years, I had a lot of growth. But like I said, this is not my whole life story, but I can tell you this. It's given me a bug to continue to keep writing.
So you're gonna maybe talk about the early days, and we'll get into that.
I think we need to have a UConn book. You know, I was talking to Tamika Williams / Raymond now, Sue and Diana and Asia and all the girls, and I'm like, at some point we need to tell our story because we need to let people in on the jokes and the funniness that we tend to laugh about, because those were some really fun days.
Well, will Coach allow you to tell some of these stories?
I mean, you get to a certain point and it's just like, I mean, it was funny because even in the Olympics, back then in college, he would have to yell and try to mold us. And then you get to the Olympics and you're talking about grown women with mortgages and car payments, and it's a different ballgame. And he's looking at us and it's like a reflection. You see these, you know, women that you had and they were younger, but now they're, you know, adults and making decisions and, you know, and growing in business. And I'm sure he's very proud of all of us.
Now, tell us how you ended up at UConn. I mean, you're from Pennsylvania. Yeah. Was it a thing where, I mean, I know in 1995 they won the title. Was it like, hey, I want to play there? What was the recruiting process like? How did that come about?
You know, I was supposed to go to Penn State. I mean, since I was a younger girl, like, I'm a big football fan. I love Joe Pa. I love Penn State, everything it stood for. And as I got older, the whole going through the recruiting process, I started talking to like Sue and Asia and Tamika, and we started thinking about, okay, where do we want to go to school, and why don't we just go somewhere together and, you know, turn a program around or be successful. And my two schools came down to Tennessee and Connecticut, and I thought they both were very great schools. But at the end of the day, I wanted to do what you're doing someday. I wanted to be in television. I wanted to have the exposure, and I wanted to play in the Big East. Sad when I say the Big East. I wanted to play in the Big East because they played at Pittsburgh, they played at West Virginia, and my family could come see me play. So there were a lot of different elements, but when I got to UConn, it was one of the best decisions I made.
And now when you got there, you talked about Tamika and Sue, and Diana was a little younger than you, but did you know right away how good you guys, the potential of how good you could be?
We came in as some naive, athletic, crazy, talented freshmen that thought we were going to win 4 championships in a row.
Two's not bad.
I mean, two isn't too bad, but we had no idea the work that went behind that. But we were so, like, driven, we were determined, and we wanted to have success. And we have people that are competitive, have competitive nature like that. It just starts to cultivate this whole environment that was very special at UConn. We had Rebecca Lobo, you had Nikisha Sells, Rita Williams, that all came before us, that laid a foundation down. But it really was our group that we felt like we wanted to take the reins and take it to another level. And Coach allowed us to do that, really created that platform for us.
I mean, and Coach has said to us, looking back at it, it's almost like you guys were like a Beatle phenomenon. I mean, the craziness that surrounded not only the state, but everywhere you went, people wanted to know more about you. What was that like?
It's so funny because when I got to the WNBA, and I remember one of the coaches saying to me, okay, it's media day, you're going to have about 4 or 5 people here, and, you know, I want you guys to prepare. And I started, like, giggling, laughing. I was like, really? And he's like, why are you laughing? I'm like, because since I was a freshman, we've dealt with large media that actually travels with our team. So, like, that's not really, you know, gonna bother me. Like, I can go do an interview if you want me to do it. It's perfectly fine, and I felt comfortable with that. But I remember we had a rule where we couldn't go to the mall wearing UConn attire because it would just be like people would just want to come up, they want to talk to you. But it really prepared us for professional sports. It really did, just being here in the city and that love and that environment. I mean, it's always special here in Connecticut. You
have so many great memories from those days. Is there one in particular that really stands out when you look back from your UConn days?
One in particular. I would say all of the fun times that we had just on the road. I mean, there were times, I mean, every Christmas break where people were going home and we were staying at the Quality Inn, and, you know, we were having a great time and everybody was all excited, and just really being able to be sisters and deal with all the things that come with being young college kids. And, you know, we didn't have a crazy phenomenon like the internet now, so we were able to make our mistakes and still be kids.
And you all are still pretty good friends now, your teammates from those days, right?
Of course, of course. I mean, Sue and Diana right now are in Russia, Asia's in Istanbul. I mean, Jessica, Ashley, Morgan. I mean, everyone tries to keep in touch to an extent, and it's really special.
You've had a really good WNBA career now. How much longer do you want to play? Have you thought about that yet? I mean, you're still young, right?
I would say I'm seasoned. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I'm pretty seasoned. I don't know. I mean, this is my last year on my contract in Chicago. I'll reevaluate after the season, but I'm having fun still playing. I love it. But now I also do have a passion for television, and I want to continue to grow and really hone in my craft. And so, you know, it'll come a point when I have to make the decision, but it's not right now. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about this upcoming WNBA season. I'm excited about this book, Humble Journey. I mean, I just feel really blessed and honored.
And what is next after basketball? You say TV. Is there anything else that you acting? I mean, what else? what do you like to do when you're not playing basketball or maybe dabbling in TV?
Well, I mean, when I'm playing basketball, I love it. I mean, it's such an outlet. It's always been that for me. I'm so competitive. I think from a television standpoint, having my own talk show or hosting my own show one day would be phenomenal. I would love to do that. I do a lot of philanthropic work with my charity Cash for Kids, and continue to grow Cash for Kids here and do things that I'm doing philanthropically, globally is very important to me. And just being a well-rounded person. I think at some point I want to get married and have kids, but you know, that's up to the big guy upstairs, and we'll have to see what happens.
You mentioned your charity, Cash for Kids. Tell us about that and your own life and how that helped establish this charity with your mother. On the website, I saw the story about her and how you're helping girls in high school or maybe having a tough time. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So Cash for Kids, it's my baby, and obviously I established Cash for Kids after I tore my ACL, and I really was down and depressed, and my mom said, you better get off your butt and you better do something. And I think because of my humble beginnings, I was able to really focus in and say, you know what, this is the time to help kids when I'm at one of my lowest points and I can't play. So that's how it started, and my mom's very involved. We have youth leagues that go on. We're also helping kids in Chicago area. We partner with Girls in the Game. Also, Humble Journey, 10% of all book sales are going back to my charity to continue to help the kids. So people know that when they purchase this book, you're also doing a good thing for some young kids that's going to be out there. They're going to benefit from it. And we're just continuing to grow. I mean, I took this charity from a small, you know, charity that was only doing a couple things a year to now creating these leagues and this environment for kids to feel safe and for kids to continue to grow.
And that's a lot of work.
It is, but you know what? I have to give a lot of credit to my mother. I have to give a lot of credit to the staff and the volunteers that come out tirelessly to help these kids, because with so much violence that's happening now, I mean, we lost one of our kids to gun violence last year, and it was very difficult for everyone. So we understand the importance of getting them involved in activities and off the streets.
Excellent. Well, it's been great talking to you. We look forward to having everyone get this book.
Yes, please.
And it's always great to see you in Connecticut, and we'll see you around the next couple months, I'm sure, right?
Oh, for sure. You'll see me around the next few months. And go Huskies. Let's make a run for another national championship. People can go online at swincash.com. They can get the book. They can follow me on Twitter at Swin Cash, and they can go to our Facebook page. We're always constantly involved and engaged.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.